My name is Bob Baldwin, and Judith Wolfe was my cousin. Yes, she was Judy, not Judith, to me. And I called her that all of her 59 years. It's what her family in Panama calls her too. Her mother once told me that she named her Judy, but the nurse at the hospital put Judith on the birth certificate. So let me tell you about Judy's family in Panama, whom my brother Floyd and I proudly represent this evening. The family name is Azcárraga, a name with Basque roots, and it's not a name that appeared on Judy's birth certificate. However, Judy was proud of her Hispanic roots and of her family, and as an adult, changed her middle name from Francis to Azcárraga. That's what the A is on this little picture. The founder of the family in Panama, Francisco Azcárraga, married Lea Deliot, of French descent, a diversified background for a little girl from Henderson, Texas, who was born on September 27, 1953. During World War II, Dr. Alfred Wolfe was stationed in the Canal Zone in Panama and was smitten by a pretty secretary who worked at the clinic. Dr. Wolfe married Raquel Azcárraga, a former Lions Club carnival queen, and took her home to what seemed like another planet to the Azcárraga family. Raquel and my grandmother were sisters, but as my father was the oldest of that generation and Judy was the youngest, I am the same age as she was. As we speak here tonight, most of the Azcárraga family is attending Mass in Judy's honor in Panama. So while they are not here in person, they are here in spirit. Fortunately, the Latin family bond being what it is, we always maintain contact and relationships with the Wolves. And when the Baldwin family vacationed in the U.S., Henderson was one place we often went. I remember playing Barbie and Ken with her and my sister. And come think of it, maybe that's why I married Barbara. Indeed, many of my aunts and Raquel's Panamanian nieces and nephews spent time in Henderson where they practiced their English. I want to tell you something about this pin that I'm wearing tonight. It is a little medallion that Judy gave me last year, along with, I get my props, with this little yellow piece of paper on which her mother wrote in her handwriting, October 1963. Medal worn by Judy for the first 6 weeks in the 5th grade. Made the highest average in the room, including 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. Twice the King School in Kilgore. Judy had many wonderful attributes, and one was that she was smart. She finished college in 2.5 years after her official high school graduation and graduated from SMU, where she met Robin at age 20. This in an era where they did not have college equivalent AP classes in high school, where she had graduated a semester early. My oldest brother tells me that when she got her CPA, she was the youngest CPA in the state of Texas, something Dr. Wolfe was very proud of. She started her career at a time when most women were still limited to being teachers, secretaries, or nurses. And with the usual grace my daughter admired about her, she pioneered her way into the workplace to earn the equivalence she knew all women deserved. She began devouring the sports pages so that she could be part of the conversation at work. Years later, she no longer needed to prove anything, yet she continued to read the sports pages. She cut her real estate teeth as an accountant at Trammell Crow Companies in Dallas, and then moved to Minneapolis in 1988 as the CFO of Dane Corporation, a real estate arm of the regional brokerage firm. She learned about bankruptcy during the real estate crash and opened a bankruptcy consulting practice with Coopers and Lybrand. Then, when real estate picked up, she got back into it. She came to Cleveland in 1996 to work for Forest City, and we'll learn more about that later. And at the time, Barbara and I were living in Cleveland, so we spent a couple of happy years with her and Robin here. So Judy was a real friend, and she had many, from everywhere she lived and from every chapter in her life. When she got sick 10 years ago, Barbara flew from London to Cleveland to spend time with her. She wrote back that Judy's room looked like a flower shop. She had a way of connecting with people, too. My son says that she always gave good advice, but was never preachy, which means that even as a teenager, he heard what she was saying. When she was little, the older Escargas called her La Ardillita, which means a little squirrel. I should say here some of the things that they have said about her. My dad says she was always lovable. He was last impressed with this when she took the time to go to Fly Miami for his 90th birthday, where she showered him with attention, much like she treated all of her friends and relatives. They have said she was an exceptional person who inspired sweetness from the first moment. Her close cousin Ted Escarraga recalls how impressed she was when she accompanied Judy to chemotherapy and how incredibly strong and brave she was. And that even as they were administering chemotherapy to her, she received calls from the office and would give opinions and make decisions. She wrote, "I have to say that my cousin Judith was an admirable and extraordinary person, always cooperative and dependable, tactful, trustworthy, and self-motivated. A loving and dear cousin. I will truly miss her because even though we spoke every now and then, or wrote to each other through the email, we had a beautiful cousin connection, and I always enjoyed her company when we were together. We always had some interesting ideas to share together. I will miss these moments. I feel very fortunate to have known her." One cousin's wife, Angela Escarraga, offered an anecdote. She recalled one morning, while we were having an early breakfast at home, Robin turned to Judith and commented, in his safe mannerism, "Judith, you don't always agree with me," to which she turned to Robin, and with the usual twinkle in her eyes, Judith replied astutely, "Robin, if I always agreed with you, then sometimes we would both be wrong." Another cousin, Louis Celerier, wrote, "Judith, a sweet and caring person, was taken away from us on January 16, 2013 at age 59 by colon cancer, which she bravely fought for 9 years. But we as mere mortals can rest assured that a special place has been reserved for her home, in that home that we call heaven." He continues, "I will miss Judith. I knew her as a child and we sang together the Aggie war hymn when she as a toddler was just learning how to speak. In singing there was a word she used I shall never forget. She could not pronounce university, so as she sang she would say goodbye to Texas Unit Bookery. As the years passed, I watched her grow into a mature, intelligent, and successful woman, yet she remained the same down-to-earth, loving person who always had a smile and kind words for others. Because of that loving personality, I will miss Judith out of proportion to the time I actually spent with her. While our lives are more empty now that she is gone, our hearts remain full with the memory of who she was. To Robin, the husband who loved her so, we send our most heartfelt sympathy in this hour of sorrow. We wish we could be with you, but feel comfort in knowing that you are with people who care and love you as much as they did Judith." He's finished by saying, "Today we pay tribute to Judith's beautiful and indomitable character." I didn't finish telling you about the medallion. On one side it has an angel looking over a small girl and a small boy. She offered it to me only because she was sorting through things and I happened to be there. And she wasn't sure if it would be sacrilegious to throw it away. I didn't understand why she would want to give me something sentimental like that, and I thought, what am I going to do with it? And then I remembered that her world was one with a limited future, and of course I accepted it. I think I told her I was going to use it as a golf marker. I saw Judy last month and said, at least in my mind, my goodbyes. She said I was like a brother to her. And now I look at that little medallion and see that little girl and the little boy together and wonder, could she have been that smart? One last thing the Escarga said was what a wonderful husband Robin is. And they wanted me to tell him and the other two Escargas here today, Gregory and Daniel, that their thoughts and prayers are with you. Thank you.